Okay, all right, so here we go. Ah! Oh my gosh, you just clicked on one of my favorite cakes. We're gonna master a classic today, German chocolate cake. As a child, I used to ask for this for my birthday. In the comments below, tell me what your favorite birthday dessert is. If I make it here on my channel, I'll give you a shout out. So I love to bake, clearly, and I am happy I get to teach you how to do this. Let me tell you what I love about this cake. Everything, absolutely everything. It is so good. There's a moist, tender chocolate cake, gooey, amazing coconut pecan filling, and a rich chocolatey buttercream. So let's get baking. We have some work to do. Turn your ovens to 350 degrees. First thing you want to do is grease and flour 3 8-inch baking pans and then line them with parchment paper. And then we'll just put those aside. Our recipe calls for 4 eggs. We're doing a little ingredient prep ahead of time so that when we start with the mixing bowl and the mixer, we have everything just ready to grab. So we need to separate 4 eggs, yolks in one, whites in the other. Next, we have the star of the show, a 4-ounce bar of German's sweet chocolate. So I'm going to open this up. We're going to chop it finely. While I'm chopping, I just wanted to share, this is not German chocolate. This is actually made in the United States. A man named Samuel German, an employee of Baker's Chocolate Company, he created this chocolate. He developed it. It has a little more sweet in it than the current options that were available. And so the chocolate company purchased this recipe from Samuel German. The cake that was made, German chocolate cake, originally was called German's chocolate cake. We have since kind of eliminated the apostrophe, but the chocolate still shows German's sweet chocolate. But it's not German chocolate. It's made right here in the US. I'm gonna go ahead and chop this up finely, and we will continue on our journey here. We're going to put this in a bowl. So we're going to melt this chocolate. So now we have a beautiful bowl of chopped chocolate, and we need to dissolve it. You have 2 options. I have a steaming hot cup of water here. You need 125 milliliters, or you can actually do hot coffee, which amps up the chocolate flavor. I'm going to use coffee. This does not flavor your bake like coffee. It just intensifies the chocolate flavor. I talked about this a lot in my chocolate cream pie recipe, if you check that out. Pour this over. Just want to give it a stir. We'll try to just get it a little bit smooth and start it on the dissolving process, and then we're just going to set it aside. It will continue melting, and it does need to cool down a bit before we use it. So just giving it a good stir here. It's starting to get smooth and silky, so I'm going to go ahead and just put this aside. Okay, now we need 1 cup of buttermilk. That is 236 milliliters. And if you're wondering if you can replace this with milk, I'm going to say no. You want the buttermilk, you want the acidity in it. So if you need to make your own buttermilk, you can add regular milk into a cup and add an acid with it, like vinegar or lemon juice, and you can make your own, but don't skip and just use regular milk. You need buttermilk. We're going to do 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. That's 313 grams. I'm using a scale for exact measurement. 313, a nice even number. Okay, I'm done with the scale. Next, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. This is 6 grams. Doing a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And part of the beauty of adding 2 leavening agents is you get lots and lots of lift, which is what makes this chocolate cake so light and fluffy. The baking soda is going to react with the buttermilk that we are putting in. It creates carbon dioxide bubbles, giving it lift, and then the baking powder is actually double acting. So when it is exposed to liquid, it's going to react and lift. Then we get a second lift in the oven because once it's exposed to heat, it does another reaction. So this gives you the best results for lift and rise in your cake. So doing both is always wise, especially if you're using buttermilk. Just a little helpful tip. We're putting a half teaspoon of salt in. We're going to whisk this. We want to make sure that all of those leavening agents and the salt are combined with the flour. Then we'll set this aside. We're just about ready to start mixing all of the stuff that we've prepped. Okay, all set. Put that aside for now. So now is when we start to have fun. We get to start mixing. You'll want a large bowl and a hand mixer, or if you have a stand mixer, we need to get busy. So we're doing 1 cup of butter. I'll show you. You should be able to push your finger into it. It should be bendy, really, really soft. I'm using Kerrygold butter. Nobody from Kerrygold asked me to say this, but it's amazing butter. It's from Ireland, and it has more fats in it than most of the butter you can get in the United States, so it's just creamier. This is not a diet dessert we're making here. So this is 226 grams, 1 cup, and we're adding 2 cups of sugar, which is 400 grams. We're going to cream this for about 3 to 5 minutes until it's nice and light and fluffy. I'm going to start stirring at first just to get it going. Right now it's pretty dark yellow. It'll start to actually change color. As it's getting light and fluffier, it'll start to get whiter and fluffier in texture. Okay, now we're going to add our egg yolks, 1 at a time. Turn this on just to stir, or just do it on low speed if you're hand mixing. And we're going to add 1 egg yolk at a time. We'll see how good I am at doing this. It's a trick. You want to just watch it. Once you see that golden yellow disappearing, it's fairly incorporated, you'll go ahead and just add the next one in. We don't want to over mix anything, but you want to make sure that each one is getting incorporated. And the last egg in. Just mix that until it's combined, and then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla, which is 5 milliliters. I don't know about you, but I'm having fun. Now we get to add the chocolate in. So we're just going to pour this in. Let that mix until it's incorporated, and then we'll add our dry ingredients and the buttermilk. So what I'm seeing right now is that classic German chocolate cake. It's like a light chocolate color, if that's a color. And I'm thinking that what you're seeing on the outside of this bowl is still the butter, and I'm seeing this pretty chocolate inside. So that means I need to scrape the bowl down. Okay, so now we get to have some fun. The dry ingredients that we prepared earlier and our buttermilk. We're doing the dry first, liquid second, dry again, the rest of the liquid, and then we'll finish with the dry. So here we go. 1/3 of this, and you don't have to measure, just kind of estimate. Just keeping this on the stir speed, or low if you're hand mixing. Just kind of watch, and when you see most of it incorporated, go ahead and add 1/2 of your buttermilk. Doesn't have to be exact. Let that mix until it's mostly incorporated. We are again trying to not overmix. Anytime you have flour, you don't want to overmix. We don't want it to be tough. We want it to be nice and light and tender. Okay, 1 more 1/3 of the dry. It's coming together nicely. What you'll see happening here is those leavening agents we put in, they're going to start bubbling and working, doing their job. Now we're going to add the rest of the buttermilk in. We're going to add the last bit of flour into our mixture. When it just starts coming together, you're going to go ahead and just shut that off. Again, I don't want to overmix it. And I want to show you something. The leavening agents are already at work. All those little bubbles all through there, they are doing their job already. So we want to kind of move quickly through the rest of the process. And again, don't overmix it because the leavening agents are actually doing their job and creating all kinds of little pockets and holes in here. We want that to continue, and the more you stir it, you're breaking those up. So we're going to put this aside for now, and we need to do our egg whites. Those will get incorporated into this, and then we get to put it in the pan and in the oven. Now we're going to beat our egg whites. You want a large bowl. There's 4 in here. We're going to start out slow just to break them up a bit. And then I'm going to increase the speed. We're going to beat these until they are thick and frothy. I put a little sugar here. We're basically making a meringue, and the sugar will give these some stability. Sprinkle a little sugar in, and I think I'm just going to use my fingers. So the egg whites are nice and frothy now. They're starting to get thick. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some sugar in. And you just want to gently sprinkle this in. This will give it some strength and stability. We're trying to get this to stiff peaks. So I'm going to go ahead and check this. I think we're close here. And we have a stiff peak. What we want to do is just put a portion of this in. This will lighten it up some, and we'll lose most of the bubbles in this egg white mixture. But then we'll add the rest in and just fold it as gently as we can. We're trying to maintain the lightness and the airiness that we've incorporated in. Folding, I just kind of turn the bowl, scrape to the bottom and just pull up and just keep folding as gently as you can. And now we just fold until all of the white is gone and we have a beautiful chocolate mixture. And every time you do this, you're cutting away some of the bubbles that are trying to, it's like this sad, crazy thing. So this is all mixed together now. We're going to put it into our pans. You want to try to get an even amount in each one. If you have a scale and you want to use a scale, that helps some, just to give you an idea. If they're about the same in the oven, they'll have the same bake time, so you don't want one way thicker than another. And then you just want to spread it out in the pans and get them kind of smooth. We're going to put these in the oven at 350 for 30 to 35 minutes. We'll check them with a toothpick. I also do just the touch test. If you touch the top of it and it springs back, it's done. So I'm gonna go ahead and get them in the oven. So while our cakes are baking, I actually have 2 little ovens here. So I have this one preheating to 350. We're gonna go ahead and toast 1 cup of pecan halves. Just put them on a baking sheet and just spread them out. And basically what this does is just it brings out the really nutty flavor in these pecans. If you don't have 2 ovens, you can do this at any point. You can also use a toaster oven or a frying pan. You can actually just put a skillet on the stove. And I'm basically just putting these in the oven for 5 to 7 minutes. It just kind of draws the oils out and the nutty flavors, and then we'll let those cool and we'll chop those. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven. Okay, these are done. So the pecans are still cooling. They're almost there. I'm going to go ahead and chop them. Basically what we're doing is prepping for our coconut pecan filling. So we're going to get the pecans ready and have them in a bowl. Same with the coconut, and then we'll have those sitting aside, and then we'll prep the rest of the ingredients. So I'm just going to chop these. So this is the texture we're going for. finely chopped. I'll go ahead and just put these in a bowl. We need 2 cups of shredded sweetened coconut. That's 180 grams. The recipe called for 30 to 35 minutes. I have given them 36 minutes. And again, I'm just going to check with the toothpick. It is coming out clean. And a touch test. That one's done. And I will check each one individually. So our beautiful cakes are cooling behind me here. We're going to let these cool 15 minutes in the pans, and then we'll invert them onto the cooling racks where we'll let them cool completely. While they're doing their thing, we're going to go ahead and make our coconut pecan frosting. You need a medium saucepan. You'll need a rubber scraper. We have our pecans ready to stir in when we're done with this process. We have our coconut. We have 2 cups of coconut. That's 180 grams. And then I have a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. Those are stir-ins when we're done cooking. So in the saucepan, I'm going to move quickly. I have everything ready to go here. We're going to put in first a 1/4 cup of sugar. That's 50 grams. A 1/2 cup of brown sugar. This is a light brown sugar and it's packed. That's 110 grams. We're going to pour in 1 can of evaporated milk. That's 360 milliliters. Then we're going to add 2 large egg yolks. Stir this with a whisk to get it incorporated. I'll go ahead and put this on the heat. Again, this is medium heat. I'm adding in 6 tablespoons of butter. That's 84 grams and a pinch of salt. And the hard work is done. Now we just need to stir this continually. Eventually the butter will melt, the mixture will thicken and boil, and then we'll take it off of the heat. Our mixture is now boiling. Yay. I'm gonna let it just do like 30 seconds or so. Okay, I am removing it from the heat. So we're gonna go ahead and stir the vanilla in. The pecans. And then the coconut. Just want to give that a good stir. You do have the option to add more coconut if when you're ready to serve it, it still seems a little thin. You can add more coconut. There's nothing wrong with that. It definitely will thicken as it cools. We have to let this cool to a spreadable consistency. I'm going to go ahead and get our cakes out of the pans, and these can just kind of cool together. So these mostly pulled away from the edges, but I want to make sure that nothing is sticking when I go to flip this over. So you just take a knife and slide it the whole way around, and then you just flip it over onto the cooling rack. You want to go ahead and remove that parchment paper. You want it to cool without that on. And we're going to do that 2 more times. So this is my favorite part, the frosting. It's my favorite part of cake always. And the first thing we're going to do is put 1.5 cups of butter in the bowl. And I will continue to say this, can't stress enough, this should be bendy and soft. You should be able to just push your finger right into it. You want it really soft. So 1, 2, 3. That's 3 sticks, 1.5 cups, or 339 grams. We're adding 1 cup of cocoa powder in, and that is 90 grams. We are going to stir this just to get it incorporated on the stir. If you're using a hand mixer, just be very gentle, the lowest speed you can use. And my mixer's not plugged in. Yay, us. Let's plug that in. Works so much better with power. I'm gonna go ahead and stir. It makes a cloud and it went everywhere. Okay, now we're gonna turn it on to low and just mix it for about 1 minute. So this mixed for about a minute. We're going to go ahead and scrape the bowl down to get any lingering butter off of the sides. I'm going to give that a stir again. And now we're going to add more of our ingredients. We're going to add half of the powdered sugar. That is 740 grams or 4.5 cups. Then we're adding 1 tablespoon of vanilla. That's 15 milliliters. We have 1/4 cup of half and half here. That's 50 milliliters. We are adding half of this in. I probably don't need to say it, but I will anyways. It's all at room temperature. 1/2 teaspoon of espresso powder. And again, this espresso powder is to elevate the chocolate flavor. It does not flavor it like coffee, but it complements and enhances the chocolate. So 1/2 teaspoon, that's 2 grams. And then we have 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Sprinkle that in. Just gonna let that mix a little bit till it's incorporated. It's looking and smelling beautiful. I wish smell-o-vision was a real thing. If you could smell this, it's so good. If there's any extra, I'm eating it. Okay, so now we're gonna add the rest of the powdered sugar in. It's just on low speed. And the rest of the half and half. We're just gonna let this mix until it's nice and creamy and smooth. I'm not whipping this, I'm not beating it on high because that incorporates a lot of air into it. And I'm actually gonna use a decorating bag and pipe this, and I don't want a bunch of air in it, so air bubbles. So I'm just letting it mix smoothly and gently on the low speed. Make sure that all of the sugar is dissolved, everything's incorporated, little bits of butter, anything like that, and then we'll just go ahead and shut it off and we'll be ready to use it. So this is the moment I've been waiting for all day, and that's to put this whole cake together. I'm going to put a little bit of the icing on the top of the tray here. This will keep it from moving or sliding off as we're decorating it. Whatever serving tray you're using, this is just a nice little trick to keep your cake in one spot. So the first layer I'm picking up, I'm doing it over here because it's kind of crummy and messy and I don't want it all over my work surface. Just rub your hands around the edges and you just kind of remove a lot of those extra little crumbs. And then we're going to go ahead and just put our first layer on. Now we're going to put some of our topping on. Now I'm going to put just a little ring around this filling with a piping bag. I put some icing in it and I just snipped the end off so it's just open. You can even use a round tip, but I'm just doing a little bit of icing around the edge. None of this has to be like done to perfection because we still have a lot of finish work to do. But I want at the edge of each layer icing as opposed to some of the filling sticking out the ends. Okay, that's just fun. Next layer goes on. We're doing the same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and just place that on there. More filling. So we're going to go ahead and just do the same thing again. This does not have to be perfect. As I said, you're just getting a layer of icing here. Instead of the filling sticking out, it'll be icing. And we're going to put the third layer on top. last chance for any corrective measures. We're all done with the filling. I have a little left. I may eat that too. I don't know. Depends how the day goes. So we are done with our topping. We have all we need on here. And I will say, if you can see this, rather than having this messy coconut stuff sticking out the edges, now we have icing. And when we put our coat of icing around the edges, this won't be getting into it. Now we're gonna go ahead and just put icing on the sides. I'm using an offset spatula. You want something nice and flat. And we're just gonna work our way around. And again, this takes a little bit of time, but it's gonna be absolutely beautiful when it's done. So I have all the icing on the way I want it. I put it on a little extra thick on the sides because I want to try and smooth it out. You could leave it like this, but I kind of like to just smooth it if I can. So we're gonna give it a whirl. I'm gonna use, this is like a bench scraper, or it is actually a decorating tool, but if you have a bench scraper, that would work also. We'll see if we can get it as smooth as possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some decorative stars or piping on the top of the cake. Just kind of hold it at a 45-degree angle. So the top is done, and now we're just gonna do the bottom, the same thing. I may just do little stars the whole way around the bottom. And look how pretty that is. So I am super, super excited. We are done. I think it's absolutely beautiful. What I'm gonna do right now is just put it in the fridge for a bit. I want the icing just to have a chance to set because it's soft right now. I'll meet you back here in a few minutes. I think that we mastered this classic together beautifully. I wanna thank you for sticking with me. I do feel like we went on quite the adventure. I chopped a few nuts. These weren't even toasted or anything. I just chopped a few up, and I want to just sprinkle a few of these on. They add a little color, a little crunch even. I think this is absolutely lovely. This has been so fun. So let's slice our cake and give it a try. It's perfect. I can't say anything else. The cake is exactly as I said. It is light and tender and moist. The pecan frosting and coconut frosting is so yummy. And I did sneak a taste of this chocolate icing. I'm ending with this. So you all can do this. I put the recipe in the description below. You can follow step by step, print the recipe out, follow the video. I would love to hear from you. If you actually make it, send me a comment. Let me know how it turned out. I have lots of other recipes in my playlist. Check those out, and I certainly hope to see you in the next video.